At exactly noon, Earth stops spinning. 5 seconds later, it starts again. Would oceans cross continents? Would everyone be thrown into space? Or would the entire event be over before your brain understood it? The honest answer begins with a question most videos skip. What exactly stopped? Earth is not a single rigid ball. It is rock, liquid metal, ocean, atmosphere, cities, people, and thousands of objects already moving through space together. So we will test 3 versions of the same impossible event. In version 1, every atom of Earth stops together. The crust, the oceans, the atmosphere, you, your coffee, everything. An unknown force removes the planet's rotation without releasing any heat, stores the energy perfectly, and returns it 5 seconds later. This is the quiet version. You're already moving east because Earth rotates. Near the equator, your speed is about 1,040 miles per hour or 465 meters per second. But you do not feel that speed because the ground, air, buildings, and ocean share it. If all of them stop at exactly the same rate, there is no hurricane. Nothing keeps sliding relative to anything else. Gravity still pulls down. Earth still orbits the sun. The moon does not crash into us. You do not fly into space. At the equator, you will become slightly heavier because the tiny outward effect of rotation disappears. The change is only about 1/3 of 1%. A person weighing 70 kilograms would feel roughly 1/4 of a kilogram heavier. The sun would appear frozen in the sky for 5 seconds. Clocks based on Earth's rotation would record an unusually long day. Geostationary satellites would drift slightly east relative to the ground because they keep orbiting while the surface pauses. In 5 seconds, the shift would correspond to only a few kilometers along the equator. Then the planet restarts perfectly. Most people would never know it happened. That answer sounds disappointing. It is also the logically correct answer if the phrase, "Earth stops," includes everything attached to Earth. So now we change one rule. Version 2. The solid planet stops, but the atmosphere, oceans, and anything not perfectly locked to the ground keep their momentum. This is the nightmare. The first 1/10 of a second. At the equator, the surface drops from 465 meters per second to 0. The air above it does not. Water does not. Aircraft do not. Loose objects do not. They continue east. To someone on the ground, the atmosphere has become a west-to-east wind moving faster than the speed of sound at sea level. The exact result depends on how the stopping force interacts with buildings, vehicles, trees, and bodies. But there is no gentle interpretation. Anything anchored to the crust is hit by air and debris with more speed than the strongest tornado. Anything not anchored keeps traveling until friction or an obstacle removes its momentum. The farther you are from the equator, the smaller the speed. At 60 degrees latitude, it is about half as large. At the geographic poles, rotational speed is almost 0. For once, Antarctica is one of the safer places to be. The first second, the atmosphere slams into mountain ranges and city skylines. Shock waves form. Windows fail. Forests become fields of projectiles. The wind does not need to circle the planet to be lethal. It only needs to cross one street. At the equator, a freely moving object covers about 465 meters relative to the stopped ground in 1 second. Now, add the oceans. Ocean water also keeps moving east. It cannot instantly jump across a continent, and a 5-second pause is too short for a single global wall of water to travel around Earth. But coastlines, islands, shallow seas, and underwater slopes turn that horizontal momentum into local surges, impacts, and violent turbulence. Eastern-facing coasts are struck first in many regions, but real coastlines are too complicated for one universal map. Bays can amplify water. Headlands can redirect it. Seafloors can turn motion into breaking waves. The third second, the ground is stationary, but the moving atmosphere is already losing energy through collisions, friction, compression, and heat. It is not a clean, uniform wind anymore. It is a planetary layer of chaotic shocks. Power grids fail. Communication towers collapse. Fires begin where infrastructure breaks. Satellites remain safely in orbit, but the antennas, cables, and control centers using them may not. The fifth second, at the equator, air or water that preserved its original speed could have moved about 2.3 kilometers relative to the ground. Then Earth starts spinning again. This is not a magical rewind. The crust accelerates east beneath a world that has just been smashed, redirected, slowed, and mixed. Objects that already crashed do not recover their momentum. Displaced water keeps flowing. Pressure waves keep traveling. The restart creates another violent mismatch, but it is messier than the first, not a perfect mirror image. The 5 seconds are over. The disaster is not. Now version 3. No magic storage system. Earth's rotation contains an astonishing amount of energy, roughly 2 times 10 to the 29th joules. If a real force stopped the solid planet in seconds, that energy would have to go somewhere. Heat, deformation, fracture, salt. Even a tiny fraction released inside the planet would overwhelm every human energy scale. The crust would not behave like a clean break disk. The event would be less like extreme weather and more like dismantling a planet. And there is an equally serious problem: angular momentum. To stop Earth, something outside Earth must take it. The required torque would be beyond any process our planet could survive. So the famous 5-second scenario has 3 different answers. Stop everything perfectly, and the event is almost quiet. Stop only the solid ground, and inertia turns the atmosphere and oceans into weapons. Stop the real planet with real physics, and 5 seconds is not a survivable timescale. 3 myths remain. Myth 1. Everyone flies into space. No. Earth's rotational speed at the equator is far below escape velocity, and gravity does not switch off. Myth 2. The oceans instantly cover every mountain. No. Water has momentum, but waves require time to travel, and 5 seconds creates regional chaos before it creates a single global pattern. Myth 3. The poles are completely safe. They avoid most rotational speed, but the planet-wide failure of climate, food, power, transport, and communication does not respect latitude. The strangest lesson is not about destruction. It is about motion. You are watching this while moving east with Earth, orbiting the sun at nearly 30 kilometers per second, and traveling with the solar system through the galaxy. None of that feels like motion because almost everything around you shares it. Speed is not what you feel. Changes. And 5 seconds is more than enough time for change to rewrite the world. What should happen in the next thought experiment? Earth loses oxygen for 1 minute, the sun disappears for 8 minutes, or gravity becomes half as strong. Choose in the comments.